I finally make my entrance into the Steam Hack League with this game, and what better player to find a game against than the legendary Netrunner, who has his own very established and popular YouTube channel where he explains one of many different deck types, one of which is the Red Coats deck that he's very famous for. Definitely go check it out if you haven't done so already. I will be very surprised if you know of my channel and don't know his. But anyway, because he's recording his videos, I have reason to record these games as well. I hope he uploads these videos so you can get to see both sides of the gameplay and what both of us think while playing this game. That will be really, really interesting. Well, we'll see what happens. For now, I'm playing my NBN Trace a Lot and Tag a Lot deck, and he's playing Andromeda, very powerful. So on my first turn, I leave R&D wide open. This is basically going off my personal experience. Andromeda wants to play lots of cards on her first turn. Andromeda wants to play R&D interface so that she can lock R&D. So I'm not expecting an indexing or a maker's eye, and I'm not expecting him to run R&D first turn because he wants to play his cards. And so he doesn't check R&D. Instead, what I do during this first turn is to exploit the fact that he wants to set up during his first turn and get my melange going. Now, I cannot click for melange at this point. Why did I not click? Yes, I did not click for melange because he trashed my RSVP that was hovering over HQ. That was a very smart play by him because that leaves HQ wide open and I do not want to get siphoned, even if it means that I can get a melange off to recover. Getting siphoned this early on is a huge pain, and I don't have any Scorched Earth hand to counter him. So I needed to get the Data Raven on HQ and res it to prevent him from scoring the early NAPD. Thankfully, he didn't start off with a sure gamble. An early sure gamble would have really caused lots of problems because he would be within NAPD range. But he had to run on my centrals many times just to get the Desperado credits, and I stopped him the moment he tried to steal an NAPD with enough credits. Now I finally have the space to use my melange. About time. I would much rather have used this earlier, but oh well. Yep. So in the meantime, he's completely locking down R&D, which I'm fine with because I'm not so fearful of indexing or maker's eyes. I'm very sure that his only means of R&D digging is interface. Yes, and I'm very confident of my the security of my R&D because the only two point agendas I'm running are NAPD contracts. That's right. I'm not even running AstroScript, I'm not running BUs. I'm only running NAPDs and 3-pointers. Because this deck, I realized, does not want to score agendas. Even if I have 3 AstroScripts in hand, the chance of me chaining them off is so low because my ice is so porous. And by the time I get to that point, the runner probably has access to all my servers. So this is purely a deck that capitalizes on runner mistakes to flatline them through tag and back. Alright, at this point, what happened is that he tilted for a Gordian Blade earlier on. I know that once he throws a Gordian Blade and a Fairy on the table, my HQ is completely vulnerable to Account Siphon. And we all don't know how bad Account Siphon is. As long as he doesn't land a successful Account Siphon, I can win this game. So, I must prevent that Account Siphon at all costs. I might be misreading his deck. I have done so many times with this NBN deck. He might come with a surprise Sneak Door Beta or a surprise Medium or Vamp. I don't know. I haven't seen his influence suite yet, but I'm guessing that he really wants the Account Siphon to go off. So I'm making sure that he cannot get a free and easy run to HQ, not without taking the Data Raven tag and the trace anyways. And now I rest the Taurus on R&D to force his Fairy out. This Fairy will not be in play to kill the Data Raven, so this buys me more space to secure my HQ from Account Siphon. That is my primary concern right now. And now with a rather secure HQ and R&D, I can click for melange. Fantastic. But I know that he has Gordian Blade in hand. He special ordered it earlier, and as any smart runner would do, he trashes my melange. That's good play. You don't want me to get out of hand with credits, especially if you know that I'm running tag and back. And you know that I'm running tag and back because I'm running Data Raven. Another special order sees him bring out the Corroder. So I need to be prepared for that as well. Here I bait him into running my remote because he will not be able to trash the Jackson Howard if he chooses to run in there. But I think he's smart enough to know that this is not an Astro script, so he doesn't need to challenge it. This is the mark of a good runner. He knows that there's no point challenging that server because it's probably some sort of asset that he cannot trash that turn. Alright, so what I do is to throw away all my agenda flood and have Jackson deal with it. I place the wraparound on archives because from experience I know that leaving archives wide open for security testing is the biggest mistake I can make. Just about as big as letting the runner get an account cipher through, because once the runner amasses a huge credit lead, I'm in trouble. So he security tests archives and I keep him out. But I know I won't be able to keep him out for long. Once the Corroder hits the table, he can still security test archives and gain 2, which is still a wonderful trade for him. Alright, so he forces me to res my TMI and I trace it such that he cannot beat. Here I kind of, I trace it such that he cannot beat the res trace. But here I keep forgetting that Andromeda has 1 link. That is a very annoying thing that I have to deal with. And the fact that he had 2 compromised employees. So my trace strategy is definitely not looking very good right now. His deck seems to be countering mine very well. Having compromised employee means that I need to put in more effort into my traces, and this is where Petri dish comes in. Once again, Petri dish is my nickname for the primary transmission dish, and the 3 recurring credits should more than offset his link and his recurring credits from compromised employee. Alright, I let him. Here he does a very smart thing, realizing that archives is taxes him for 1 credit. He instead security tests my remote. RSVP doesn't stop him from security testing at all, so he can just eat the RSVP but still benefit from security testing. So yes, that's a problem. I need to ice up my remote. So I see the TMI in my hand, looks good, but I don't really want to put a TMI on the remote right now because he is on a good amount of credits, and that means that I probably won't be able to get the TMI trace off, especially with his double compromised employee. So I need to wait until I get another piece of ice before I can ice up that remote. In the meantime, he takes advantage of that and for the first time has exceeded me in credit pool. He's now on 13 credits and he takes this chance to install the Corroder. So once the runner gets out of hand with credits, and especially like him, he essentially has 3 link right now, I'm looking in horrible shape. I reshuffle my agendas back into my R&D and ponder over my next move. Now, I have another Chilo City Grid, so this might be my chance to install the Chilo and the TMI on the remote to stop him from getting 3 security testings off, and that's exactly what I do. Now, he has no reason to challenge this remote. Remember that he knows that the Petri dish is inside, so this is not an agenda, it's an upgrade. An upgrade that he shouldn't be too concerned about. He probably knows that it's a Chilo City Grid. But he still runs it anyway. Alright, so at this point, I contemplate and decide to rest both. Alright, so I'm going to trace big for many credits. That's a trace 8. Yep, that's where Petri dish comes in handy. He can easily beat the trace. If he beats the trace, I'll let him go through, but this will tax him for quite a few credits. He has to pay a lot to beat the trace, and he still has to break the RSVP and trash my assets if he wants to. But instead, he chooses to let the TMI go, which probably is a mistake, I would think. You should always challenge the TMIs, especially if you have essentially 3 link like he does. Why not? Anyway, he wasn't within range of C Scotch, so I definitely would have challenged it. Now, I think I also made a mistake by raising the Petri dish. It's not going to do much right now. He's not going to eat any traces anytime soon. And I'm not going to be able to pull off a successful seesaw anytime soon. So the Petri dish was a waste of my time. I mean, it's still a net gain of 1 because it cost 2 to rest, but gave me 3 trace credits which I dumped into the TMI. But I think I could have played that better. Alright, so at this point I knew that I had to go all in because he was going way out of hand with his credit pool. He's gaining 2 per turn. I cannot keep him out of archives forever. So I decided to install the Bernice Mai into the remote server. So we have the Bernice and Chilo City Grid combo, and the Melange goes in there. So if he doesn't contest it, I'm going to gain 7, which should put me back in healthy range. Now he goes in for the account siphon. I know that I cannot stop that anymore since he has an entire breaker suite out. So I rest the RSVP to tax him, and I gain 7 the next turn. Too bad, account siphon negated just like that. And of course, he had to spend time clearing tax, so that definitely slowed him down. This is why Scorched Earth is starting to become more powerful again in this meta, where people are still playing a lot of account siphons. The Scorched Earth should deter them. Now, he obviously needs to trash a Melange, and he makes a successful run, upon which I rest the Bernice Mai. Now, I trace him for 9. He can beat the trace. I place the trace such that if he spends all his credits and all his compromised employee credits, he can beat the trace, but that means he cannot trash the Melange. So the other option for him is to not invest in the trace at all and eat the 2 tags that Chilo and Bernice Mai gives him. Yep. So this is a very interesting play from me. He can beat the trace, but by leaving the Melange there, I will gain lots of credits while he will be down to 0 credits because he chose to beat the trace. This is where Bernice's base trace of 5 comes in so handy. Notice that I also destroyed the Petri dish just to install all of these. So the Petri dish really isn't pulling its weight in this deck right now. Yes, right now he's considering whether he should boost the trace or not care about it at all. So he decides to not to continue on. Instead, he lets the trace go. He obviously clears the tax, as a smart runner would do, and destroys my Melange. Now, Seesaw, Scotch. Anyone? No, I only need 1 Scorched Earth because he left himself with 3 cards in hand. That was to be his undoing. I traced him just enough to outlink him. He has 5 credits worth of link, so I traced 6. And gaining 1 credit and throwing the Scorched out. That was very lucky because if he had 1 more credit, this wouldn't have gone through. That was so close. It really was by the skin of my teeth that I managed to pull that flatline off. I really shouldn't have won that because I let him snowball out of control with security testing. It seems to be my undoing every time, but this time I managed to capitalize on his slight carelessness in ending his turn with just 3 cards in hand. So the MVP of this game by far is Bernice Mai, the single copy of Bernice Mai that I left in my deck because Bernice Mai by herself isn't the most useful card, and yeah, I prefer using Chilo City Grid to punish the runner with Trace Ice, but it doesn't seem to be working. What seems to be working, conversely, is the Chilo and Bernice combo, which is actually much more reliable because of the higher base Trace of Bernice Mai and the fact that she gives a tag herself. So I completely leveraged on the fact that he ran on the second click. So he had to spend the last 2 clicks clearing tags and losing money, and that provided me with just enough breathing space to pull off the win. That was so close. If I wasn't able to pull off the win there, things would be very different because I was also low on credits and I lost my Melange there. So, well, that was the game. Very, very nail-biting indeed, and it definitely needs some modifications. The big Trace Ice just aren't working out as much as I would like them to have. I would probably want to include more Bernice Mice, maybe a couple of Too Good to Be Trues. Those are also pretty good, but they do take up agenda slots, something I'm worried about always. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. This deck definitely needs tweaking, but I think it's pretty strong in this meta where less and less people play plus streets and more people run recklessly. single Scorched Turf could prove to be the undoing of many. It is very risky to go all in with my flatline victory because anyone who plays multiple plus feeds pretty much wins the game against me. And yeah, I don't have any alternate path to victory because I don't intend to score agendas at all. But we'll see how this works, really. Thanks for watching and happy net running. See you around.